Carlson is in a little bit of trouble. He managed to get himself into a pickle. Apparently, during the defamation lawsuit, the discovery phase of it, he was caught saying that he does not like Trump. We are very, very close to being able to ignore Trump most nights. I truly cannot wait. I hate him passionately. And all of a sudden, the entire mainstream media apparatus outside of Fox News is bewildered by this, is taken aback. But for people who actually do watch Tucker Carlson, they would know that he did state in interviews publicly that he is not a big fan of Trump. There were other messages before this in which he attests the fact that he does not like Trump. So I don't really understand where the controversy is coming from. I mean, the man is allowed to have his personal opinions, right? The interesting thing is that people consider him to be controlled opposition. And if this is the case, why is the entire left-leaning mainstream media apparatus attacking him right now? Like almost everybody is attacking him. And not to mention, recently he also shown the footage from January 6th, the unedited one, the one that I think even social media used to ban you if you show it. I remember a couple of days after the January 6th happened, many social medias flat out banned any type of footage from the event, editorialized or not. And now we probably know why. But what I do want to say is that this is why I like Tucker Carlson, because without him, you probably wouldn't see that footage. I personally do not care what political leanings he has. He can even vote Democrat. That is not why I watch someone that's on TV. Right? I do not watch him for his personal takes. I watch him for his show. Now, his show doesn't seem to lie, misattribute, misinfo. At least, not more than any other mainstream media outlet. And it talks about subjects that I care about. Subjects that are not presented on other channels. I mean, that's the thing with the mainstream media. It lies by omission. So in order to actually get an accurate view of things, to actually understand what's going on, unfortunately, you do have to watch CNN, MSNBC, but you also have to watch Tucker Carlson. You need to watch Joe Rogan in order to see what the opposition isn't talking about. Because what is not being talked about is a lot more important than what is most of the times. And that's how they usually lie, by omitting to show you things, by omitting to discuss things. So this is why I think that Tucker Carlson is important. It's because he talks about certain subjects that the left doesn't approach. This does not mean that he is a leader, a guru that I watch so that he puts wisdom into my brain. Because I think this is what a lot of Americans do. They find a person that they like, whether it's Joe Rogan, Tucker Carlson, a late night comedian, and then they get wisdom from that person. They expect that person to do their thinking for them. And this is why they're horrified when they realize that person doesn't support the same political candidate as they do, or doesn't like the same things that they do. Because then they get concerned. It's well, yeah, but if they don't like this, how can I get wisdom from that person? And the answer is you shouldn't look at someone to spoon-feed you information. You should look at someone for their show and the subject matter that they are addressing and what they are talking about. If Tucker Carlson prefers DeSantis over Trump, or he prefers some other Republican, let's say he even prefers a Rhino, I don't know. His show is talking about things that no one else talks about, and that's why it's important to watch it. My 2 cents on the matter. And I don't think I'm alone here, because his show is one of the most popular on cable. The only person that I think is more popular than Tucker Carlson is Joe Rogan. But, it's a different type of show, because it's on Spotify. So it's on the internet. It's not really like cable. But yeah, so all in all, I do think that due to how many people on the left are attacking him over something they don't care about, because this is called concern trolling. It's when they're not trying to help Tucker Carlson make a better show, or they're not trying to expose Tucker Carlson for disliking Trump because they love Trump a lot. No, what they are doing is that they are trying to get viewers to stop watching. And I don't think it will work, to be honest. Obviously, people will still watch. They will be a little bit more skeptical now, which they should, right? Like, you should be skeptical. And at the end of the day, his editorial and his takes aren't why I watch it. Because if I see, for example, a university professor that is saying that the United States is racist and you need socialism to fix it, and we need to abolish farming, and we need to take away private cars from people, I don't need Tucker Carlson to say shit after that. I can think for myself. I can listen to what that person said, which was a guest on the show. I can process it to my own filter, and I can get my own conclusions. The fact that Tucker seems to have like an opinion himself, that's part of the entertainment, but that's how I watch, at least, and that's how I hope you guys watch. Right? You don't need the editorial part. You just need to know like something happened. For example, the Ohio train wreck, right? Like the disaster which happened in Ohio. I think Fox News was one of the few cable networks that talked about it at the time. Like, that was why the show was important, because it talked about the subject that all the other mainstream media outlets refused to talk about. So, you tell me if it matters or not, if he is a Trump supporter. No, sure, it might be disappointing for some Trump supporters that one of the few places where they can get types of news that they resonate with has a host that does not share the same sympathies for the presidential candidate that they support. But I haven't seen him like treat Trump unfairly, for example. That's another interesting thing, right? I haven't seen Tucker Carlson complain about 2 scoops of ice cream. I haven't seen Tucker Carlson complain about the Pissgate dossier. I haven't seen him complain about most of the things, like even with the Mar-a-Lago FBI raid. He was there and he said, well, yeah, this never happened before. This is very concerning. And even if he doesn't support Trump personally, I do think he separates his own personal biases from the news. This is why I respect him even more. Jimmy Dore is another person that does that. Like, Jimmy Dore is a leftist. But many times, he has supported Donald Trump's policies. He looked at certain events and he sided with Donald Trump, even though I'm willing to bet that Jimmy Dore is a Democrat. And he doesn't vote for Trump, but he can look at the system and say, well, the system is corrupt. I do not support this guy. But what is happening there is not something good for the system as a whole. And that's how things should be, right? I personally hope so. I mean, I'm looking at my country, for example. We have less partisanship here. And people do not watch the news because the news anchor supports someone or not. Like, I seen an interview with Andrew Tate's lawyer in Romania, and I couldn't tell if the interviewee likes or dislikes Andrew Tate. Like, she got the lawyer in the studio, started asking him reasonable questions that the audience would ask, didn't interrupt, didn't interject, didn't editorialize. That was the interview. You have no idea if the interviewee even knows who Andrew Tate is, besides the questions that were given to her by the producer to ask. And I think like that's how the media should actually operate, rather than try to influence people through editorializing. Let me know what you guys think, though, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.